Got severe thunderstorm warnings covering a huge chunk of the area from Monroe County all the way down to the beach. The storm producing the hail is showing up in advance of the main line. That's the reason why it's moving to the north and east and not to the south and east like this main line is. Lightning, without a doubt, huge threat for everybody. Heavy rain, a huge threat for everybody. But like what you saw in Orange Beach, there's also massive amounts of hail that are falling inside these storms, and we've got wind gusts inside the squall line reported to be at about 70 miles per hour. That's almost hurricane force winds that are going to be blowing in throughout the course of Mobile, Baldwin County, Escambia County, Alabama, Monroe County, Clark County, Conecuh County, as well as parts of the Florida Panhandle. So this is going to be a really rough morning for almost all of us. The positive is it's not going to last long. By the time we get to mid-morning, we're going to be seeing this fading out very quickly, sooner rather than later. So if you are watching us right now on our coverage, we are streaming on Facebook Live. We're streaming on Fox 10 News Now. And of course, we're right here on Fox 10 television, which is fantastic news. So as far as when we're going to see this end, I'll give you a quick look at the Fox 10 Futurecast, and this is just an estimate. You can see that the storms are projected to be out of the area by 9. Personally, I think it's going to move out sooner than that, just based on the fact that the radar is ahead of where the Futurecast currently is. So I do think that if the Futurecast says 9, I think there's a good chance we're done with the severe weather threat by, I would say, 8 o'clock, maybe even 8:30 at the latest. But that's something we'll be following throughout the rest of the morning. Here is a glimpse again at the hail tracker. We were just showing you the 2-inch hail in diameter for the storm that was rolling in over Orange Beach. And the biggest amount of hail that was rolling over that region was in fact 2 inches. We'll go back to the live radar so you can get another glimpse of that. And right there over Josephine and Wolf Bay is where the biggest part of that storm is showing up. So that's right over Beach Boulevard, Cotton Bayou Canal Road, and it's just going to keep marching its way farther up to the north and to the east. So I would say Josephine, I would say Spring Branch Road, County Road 95, Inner Rarity Point. You need to be on standby for this really horrible amount of hail that's marching its way to the north and east. It just really nailed Orange Beach and Gulf Shores very hard with 2-inch hail, which is about the size of a golf ball, pounding that same area for at least 10 minutes, and now it's right over Cotton Bayou and Magnolia Circle, and it's going to keep marching its way up toward Josephine and Josephine Drive, and it might miss Inner Rarity Point, but it's going to be very close. So this is just a major amount of hail showing up inside the storm this morning. We've had reports of damage as a result of the hail and the wind gusts. We're just going to stay with this as it keeps following its way to the north and east. We just got a new sweep scan, and now it looks like the hail has lifted farther north, and it looks like it bypassed Josephine, or at least a good chunk of it. And right now, the core of that storm is showing up east of the Park at Oahu, south and east of Alberta, and right around Wolf Bay. Right now, it's headed over Fish Trap Road and Fitzpatrick Road as it keeps marching its way to the north and to the east. So we're just going to continue to stay with this storm as we move in throughout the remainder of the morning. And here's the watch warning map. You got a tornado watch, which is in yellow. That's till 8 o'clock this morning. It covers every county in the Fox 10 viewing area. The gold colors are your severe thunderstorm warnings, and that's because of the hail threat as well as winds of about 70 miles per hour. Of course, the reason why Baldwin County's warning is sort of apart from all of this is because that storm is showing up in advance of the main line. The main squall line is still marching its way to the south and to the east, and it will continue to do so throughout the remainder of the morning. So I know a lot of you, people always, want to ask, hey, why do you repeat yourself or say the same thing again? And that's because so many people are joining us at different times because of when the warnings go off on their devices, when the thunder wakes them up. And you can tell by all this lightning, there's obviously going to be a lot of thunder showing up inside these storms, and these things are going to continue to pack a punch. I will take a closer look at Mobile County. So you've got a lot of lightning and thunder in Mount Vernon, Chastang, Chanchula, Gulf Crest, Georgetown, Wilmer, Sims. You're getting heavy storms. West Mobile over by the regional airport in Dawes, about to see the strong storms come in. So downtown Mobile, located here, Here's Pritchard, Saraland, Eastern Shores right here. And West Mobile, this is the regional airport. That's where the radar is located, and the Weather Service office. Here's Dawes, here's Theodore. And this is the outer band of the main squall line, and you can see it's already hitting Sims extremely hard, hitting Wilmer hard, Hurley, as well as southeastern George County, and it's all marching its way to the south and east. So that means if you're in West Mobile, let's say you're down Airport Boulevard, Cottage Hill Road, you're hearing the thunder, but the nastiest part of the storm isn't to you yet. But if you're in Sims or west of the airport, you are getting those storms. And soon, I would say within the next I would say 8 minutes, because the radar estimated it would be to downtown Mobile at 3:35. So I would say for West Mobile, anywhere near Providence Hospital, anywhere in that general quadrant, it's probably going to be to you in about 3 to 4 minutes. And this is going to be a situation where the rain is going to be heavy, the lightning is going to be tremendous, the winds could get up to about 60 to 70 miles per hour, which would be the equivalent of a strong tropical storm, maybe a minimal hurricane in your region, which can knock down trees and power lines with ease. And like what we saw down around Orange Beach a few minutes ago, massive amounts of hail could be showing up inside those storms. Now, we have another shot right now of the beach in Orange Beach. Remember, before, we couldn't even see a thing because the rain was so intense. Now we can at least visually see what's going on in Orange Beach right now because the nastiest part of that storm has lifted to the north and east. So you see the flashes of light on the horizon. That is where the storm has moved off to. It's moved past of Cotton Bayou, but now down around the immediate coastline, you're now calm. We can visually see off our Dad's Roofing Skycam, and hopefully the hail didn't cause too much damage, but I'm sure with 2-inch hail, some of the vehicles down there probably weren't so lucky. So we're going to keep up to date on estimates on damage reports throughout the morning. And if you are watching us down in Orange Beach, remember, your severe weather threat isn't over yet. We did get a new storm report in on what rolled through Orange Beach, that the hail actually got up to baseball size. It got up to 2.75 inches about 5 minutes ago at 3:25. So it was golf ball to baseball size, and that was a local report from the Weather Service office. So that was just 5 minutes ago, where you see, and let me turn off the lightning so you can get a better visual of it. That pink color you're seeing there in the radar reflectivity, as the storm rolled over Orange Beach, the hail actually jumped up to baseball size as it moved right over Perdido Beach Boulevard and right over those condominiums. So a nasty situation. And you still see the pink north of Innerarity Point. And Lillian, if I were you, I would make sure I would be doing everything you can to take cover from the hail that's going to be working its way in your direction, because it's moving quickly up Whispering Pines Road. And it will be to this section of US 98 sooner rather than later. It looks like it will stay to the west of NAS Pensacola, west of Warrington, west of Myrtle Grove. But this is the same hail that rolled over Orange Beach earlier that was at baseball size, according to the most recent storm reports. And Lillian, it's knocking on your doorstep right now. And keep in mind, the radar refreshes about every 3 to 4 minutes. So if you think about that, Lillian, it may be to you right now, and it's going to keep working its way to the north and east into parts of Escambia County, Florida. And if you are in southern Baldwin County or on the Panhandle and this storm just passed you and you're thinking, okay, the severe threat's done, it's not. You still have a ways to go because the main line hasn't even arrived in your area yet. So let's take a look again at that main line, and you can see it's rolling into parts of Jackson County, Mississippi, around Van Cleve and Hurley, showing up around West Mobile, Sims, Wilmer, Satsuma and Saraland. You're just now starting to get the storms. I just stopped the loop, so now this is an exact live radar. Saraland, it's right on top of you. Saraland High School, which is off exit 13 off I-65. That is where the squall line is currently. And Pritchard, it's going to be to you soon. This is the 165 junction, which is just south of Chickasaw, and it's probably going to be right over that area in about the next 2 minutes. Tolmanville and 8 Mile, it's marching its way into your area as well. But now it's officially moved into Saraland. It's moving up Celeste Road, which runs up into the north regions of Saraland by Destination Church and a few other subdivisions. And we're just going to keep watching these storms as they march their way gradually gradually to the south and to the east. So once these storms are done, once they pass over your individual community, the severe weather threat drops in a very large way, which is why I think before we even get to mid-morning today, all of this is going to be over. Baldwin County EMA is asking us to tell all of you that are in the path of the hail to remain indoors, especially in the south end of Baldwin County. So the south end of Baldwin County needs to make sure you stay indoors as a result of these tremendous storms. And now you're starting to get some of the heavier rain for the West Mobile community. Baker High School, you see that on the radar, Leroy Stevens and Cottage Hill Road, and it's getting closer and closer toward Medal of Honor Park. This is Dawes Road. Dawes and Cottage Hill is right here. So the squall line's finally moving into this region. And this circle, remember, this is where the radar is located. This is the Mobile Regional Airport. That big dome you see, that's where the Weather Service office is, and that's where the live radar site is located. So we're starting to see the outer bands of that squall line approaching Hillcrest Road. This is Cottage Hill. This black line here is Cottage Hill. This is Cottage Hill and Hillcrest. So that's right over by the Publix and by the Sonic. So the band of that squall line is right on top of that region, I'd say within the next 1 to 2 minutes. Here's Medal of Honor Park. University and Demetropolis is here. Azalea is here. McGowan Park, which is where the Fox 10 studios are, farther to the east. Anyone in that region probably has about 6 to 7 minutes before this band of storms knocks over that particular part of Mobile County. So let's go back and show you the visual of the entire storm system. And you can see it's just a mess between the lightning, between the rain. But you'll also notice behind the squall line, for example, look up toward Leakesville and Chatham and Jackson. It's still raining in Greene, Washington, and Clark counties, but the lightning is nowhere near as intense as it is in Monroe County, Conecuh County, Escambia County, Alabama, Baldwin, or Mobile County. The lightning is a lot worse in those counties. That's because for those of you in our northwestern sections of the area, the squall line has already passed over you, so your air has gotten more stable, and whenever you see the air stabilize, we're no longer dealing with a severe weather threat, which is great news, but you're still going to have to deal with lingering rain even when the severe weather threat technically diminishes. So we're going to keep staying with this because even though we're not underneath any tornado warnings, these straight line winds can cause massive amounts of damage, and we've been getting constant storm reports in of trees down, power lines down, and now we saw, if you're just joining us, about baseball-sized hail that rolled over Orange Beach approximately 10 minutes ago. So we have numerous warnings. We'll pull that up again. Severe thunderstorm warnings are showing up in gold. The yellow is a tornado watch box that doesn't expire till 8. But the gold is what we're really focusing on right now. Those are the severe thunderstorm warnings along the squall line as you have the massive amounts of lightning, tremendous intense amounts of rain, as well as winds at about 70 miles per hour marching to the south and east. The latest estimate on the winds from the Weather Service are 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So the wind gusts have dropped slightly from 70 to 60 miles per hour, but it is moving east at about 40 miles per hour. So let's make this, let's bring this live and bring up some of the locations and get an estimate on when it's going to be over your individual communities. And let's draw that right now. So we'll draw down to 40 miles per hour. And here are some of the estimates for the communities on when it's going to be in those locations. So Mobile, it's over you right now. Daphne, it will be to you at 3:54. Fairhope, it would be to you at 4:02. Foley, it would be over you at 4:30 this morning. That's based on a 40 mile per hour movement as it moves to the east and southeast. And inside the storms, the winds are at 60 miles per hour. The lightning, as you can see, is tremendous, and the rain rates are extremely powerful as these storms are slowly tracking to the south and to the east. And the reason why we're staying with this, you know, at this hour of the morning, obviously there's not a lot of programming to cover up. A lot of you, I'm sure, are waking up from either getting the severe thunderstorm warnings on your phone and the fact that the thunder is tremendous as a result of the lightning. So that, I'm sure, is waking a lot of you up. And you can hear the wind as it's passing over you as a result of this squall line. So we wanted to be here with you to let you know exactly what's happening with these storms. And so far, the big damage has been from the wind and hail. The straight line winds, although not a tornado threat, can knock down trees and power lines. The hail has gotten up to 2 3/4 of an inch in diameter, which means it's jumped from golf ball to baseball size hail. We're even starting to see more tennis and baseball size hail reports. This is from the Weather Service that's coming in from the storm that moved on shore in Baldwin County not too long ago. So numerous reports are coming in. I've gotten probably in the last, I would say 10 to 15 minutes, I've gotten probably 15 messages from viewers. Unfortunately, I can't go through all of them right now since I'm on the air. And that's just something we'll have to, I'm going to go through these when we get off the air. I'm definitely going to want to look at all of these pictures and videos. If you have them, please keep sending them. You can send them to me. You can send them to Fox 10. And let's see, just got... I got a report that down in Gulf Shores, we had hail pounding our 17th floor window. These are spring breakers, pounding the 17th floor window. And this was on their first night of spring break. So for some spring breakers, they're either wrapping up, others are just starting, and not a great way to obviously start your vacation when you're dealing with hail pounding your condominium window. And you can just see these storms that are continuing to march their way east into the southeast, producing heavy rain and lightning. And if you're watching us down in Orange Beach, I want to emphasize this again. If you're watching us down where all of that hail was, and you're in that lull right now, your severe weather threat isn't over. This storm that produced the hail that's marching to the north and east was ahead of the main line of storms, which is still to the west of Mobile, or actually it's over Mobile. It's to the west of the eastern shore, and it's going to be marching its way to the south and to the east, and it's doing so at about 40 miles per hour. That's why we're staying on the air with you. But on my iPad, I was just glimpsing at the storm reports that I'm getting personally, and I've gotten at least 15 messages that I can't go through right now, but we're just going to have to sort all of this out throughout the morning. But I want to be able to see all your pictures and videos. Keep sending them. When the severe threat's over, I'm going to post them all, and we'll post them to all the Fox 10 social media channels after the severe weather threat is over this morning. So as far as what we've got regarding the hail tracker, let's pull that up again and take another glimpse at where the hail thankfully has weakened a bit. The estimates now on the size of the hail is under an inch in diameter. Let's go back and take another look at that with the reflectivity. Notice that the pink color, and it is weakening. You can definitely see that. Let me back this up again. I want you to take a look. I'm going to go through this frame by frame. So see the pink color on the radar? That's where the hail jumped up to about golf ball to baseball size. Notice the timestamp. So we're coming up on 3:16 in the morning, and you can see it was right over Orange Beach and Perdido Beach Boulevard. Then it lifted its way up toward Cotton Bayou, Canal Road, and then you started to see the pink showing up around Innerarity Point. Hail was pounding that area as well, Whispering Pines Road, and continuing to lift to the north and east around Lillian. But thankfully, even though there is probably still hail inside that storm, notice the pink has sort of faded out as the storm has moved over Lillian, which means although there may still be hail, it's not to the size that it was when it rolled right over Orange Beach, which is great news. But Lillian right now still dealing with the worst of the storm, and it will continue marching to the north and east near Bellevue. But thankfully, I think with that storm, knock on wood, I think the main hail threat with that is starting to diminish. New storm reports in. Romar Beach, 2 miles northwest of, let's see, Romar Beach reports hail that was a $0.50 size, 1 1/4 inches. Also got a storm report of 1.75 inch hail, golf ball size on the west side of Gulf Shores that occurred at 3:17 this morning. So let's go back to the live radar and take a look at the bigger picture. So you got the storm in Orange Beach, or that was in Orange Beach, starting to weaken as it moves over toward the Pensacola area. And you got the main squall line making its presence felt now around Atmore, Bruton, Bay Minette, Mobile, approaching Spanish Fort, Daphne and Fairhope, and Pascagoula. If you're wanting to know why we're on the air with this, it's simply because even though there are no tornado warnings, the amount of damage we've seen from the straight line winds and the hail has been tremendous already. And what you're seeing now in this, what we call the quad box, is numerous sky cams across the area. The top one at your screen, that is in downtown Mobile on the roof of the Admiral Hotel. The middle camera, that is from the Dolphins restaurant. And then the bottom one is down around Orange Beach. That's on the roof of Turquoise Place. And earlier we showed that camera shot live when the hail was going right over Orange Beach. We couldn't see a thing. The most we could see on that camera were just nonstop blue flashes from the lightning. That's all we could make out. We couldn't see anything. Now, because that storm is north of Orange Beach, you can visually see the lightning popping on the horizon, but you can also visually see that things are calmer down around that section of the beach. So we're going to continue to watch the radar, and you can see the band of heavy rain, lightning, and inside these storms, the winds are at about 60 miles per hour. Tropical storm strength storms are marching their way to the south and to the east. The good news is once these storms pass over your individual communities and move out, your severe weather threat for the rest of the day diminishes. You can still see rain throughout the rest of the morning, but as far as dealing with intense lightning, intense wind and hail, that threat will end, which is good news. But right now, we'll zoom in tighter toward the storm's current location as they march their way to the south and east. And I'm still going to monitor the storm reports as they come in. And as of now, still getting numerous photos. And I've probably now, my inbox is, honest to goodness, probably up to 50 messages right now in my Facebook and Twitter inbox that I'm going to have to go through once I get off the air. And again, we'll post all these once I get a good glimpse of them. I just appreciate all of you that are watching, taking these things and sending them in. So, Mobile, you are getting rain soaked. The storms are even moving into where the station is currently located, McGowan Park, which is the McGowan Park Shopping Center. That's exit 1, Government Boulevard off of I-65. So the whole I-65 corridor in Mobile dealing with rain and storms. Everyone from the I-10 junction, the Fox 10 Studios, Airport Boulevard, Dauphin Street, Spring Hill, Pritchard, all the way up to Chickasaw and Saraland. The weather just completely nasty in the port city. The storms are going to keep marching their way eastward. They're approaching downtown. So the cameras, the top two cameras you're seeing, the one that's at the Dolphins restaurant, which is pointed south, and then you've got the storm on the top, the camera on the top of the Admiral, that's pointed west. You're probably going to see the visuals on those camera shots going downhill, I'd say within the next 2 minutes, maybe less. That's how. And then you got the South Alabama campus, which is here. Storms are pounding that region as well. Almost all of Cottage Hill Road from Airport Boulevard all the way back to Dawes Road dealing with nasty storms. Sim's still dealing with heavy rain. And we'll take a farther look up at what's going on around Pritchard and Saraland and Satsuma. And you can see the weather there also horrible. So as you continue driving up I-65, exit 13, the Saraland exit, 15, which is Celeste Road, exit 19, which is Satsuma, and then even up into Creola, all dealing with the main part of the squall line as it's marching to the south and to the east. You're probably all waking up from the thunder. The wind has probably woken a lot of you up. And you can see Sims, Millertown, Georgetown, you're all still dealing with severe storms. Although I think once you're west of US 45, that's where the severe potential begins to diminish as the storms are now, the leading edge is pushing over into parts of Baldwin County. Because once you pass Creola on I-65, you pass the W.K. Wilson Bridge, nicknamed the Dolly Parton Bridge, and that leads you over toward Highway 225 in Baldwin County. And I think the storms are right over, at least the leading edge is right over that portion of the viewing area. We're still receiving more reports of damage from Clark County. We're talking with the they're going to try to get local storm reports coming in soon. This is from the Weather Service office. I'm just reading some of these in real time. And but apparently Clark County, for those of you watching us up there, you had numerous reports of damage as a result of the wind. But notice your severe weather threat is just about over. It's still raining in Washington and Clark County, Chatham, Millry, Jackson, Grove Hill, Thomasville. It's still raining up here, but the severe weather threat is diminishing because the squall line is now to the east of Monroeville. So if you're watching us in Monroe County, the main leading edge of the storms are now moving into Conecuh County, heading over toward Evergreen, but a good chunk of the area for you is starting to see calmer weather. It's still raining, but you're probably hearing less thunder. The wind threat also probably backing off a bit as well. And here at the station, as we mentioned, our station's located at McGowan Park. We can hear just in the studio, we can hear the wind as it's marching its way through in a hurry. And if you're watching us on the eastern shore, if you're watching us in Fairhope, Point Clear, Daphne, Spanish Fort, know that the storms are heading your way sooner rather than later. In less than 10 minutes, they're going to be to this section of Highway 98. Malvis, you'll be next, followed by Loxley, Baldwin Beach Express, Wilcox Road. And here's the middle camera is the camera that's located at the Dolphins restaurant. And you can already see the lightning flashing getting more intense. The visual shots starting to deteriorate because the rain rate is getting heavier and heavier. And you can see why. You see this shade of red means extremely heavy rain. And the lightning is also popping frequently in downtown Mobile. And you think about that, from downtown to the regional airport is at least 15 miles, and that is already just one stretch of storms that's covering that 15-mile-an-hour spans. So you don't want to be driving anywhere, especially down Airport Boulevard, Cottage Hill Road. Rain-soaked right now, nasty conditions with the wind and with the lightning. That's why we always try to tell people ahead of time, when these squall lines come through, stay off the roads. Now, thankfully, at 10 till 4 on a Saturday, the odds of there being a lot of traffic on the road is extremely low. Let's see. Getting a new storm report in. Let's see. The hail core, they're reporting that storm that rolled over Orange Beach earlier, the hail core inside that storm has diminished, so they have dropped the severe thunderstorm warning for that storm. That's this one right here that was over parts of Baldwin County. So the one that's over Pensacola right now. This is the storm that was over Baldwin County earlier, the one that produced that golf ball size hail and baseball size hail. The hail threat with that is diminished. And if you're in Pensacola and you're dealing with this storm, know that once it passes over you, you still have the main line that's off to the north and to the west that's still going to be marching its way through sooner rather than later. So we're watching these storm reports as they come in. I'm reading some of those right now. I've gotten reports of damage to vehicles that are down around Orange Beach, people that were out on spring break, the vehicles significantly damaged. Hail apparently has blown out the windows of the vehicles. Windshield damage as well. So the damage there, apparently, from what I'm reading, is significant in that area, especially for any vehicles that were not in a garage or in a carport or anything like that. Vehicles that were left outside as that storm rolled through Orange Beach. Apparently, it caused a lot of damage. Windshield damage, damage to windows, which is what we kind of feared when we were watching these storms tracking in that direction. And the problem is, that storm, that's not the last of it, because we've still got more that are going to be on the way. So this is the storm. That was the wrong thing. Didn't want to draw that. This is the storm in particular that was over Orange Beach earlier. That one over Pensacola. The hail threat with that is done. But if you're watching us in Orange Beach or southern Baldwin County and you want to know if the severe threat is over, it's not, because now you've still got the main squall line that's going to be working its way through your area. That squall line is right here, and it's still going to be tracking to the south and to the east. So even though the hail threat is over for now down around Orange Beach, your severe weather potential is not over with. So you've got to make sure that you are paying attention to everything that's going on regarding these storms. I'm going to go back to the watch warning map, and you can see that the severe thunderstorm warning from that storm has been dropped. You still have the tornado watch box that's in yellow that goes till 8 o'clock in the morning. The gold are severe thunderstorm warnings that stretch from Monroe and Conecuh County all the way down to downtown Mobile and the eastern shore. These sky cams. The top one is a camera that's located on the roof of the Admiral Hotel. The second one is at the Dolphins restaurant, and the bottom shot is Turquoise Place. And when we showed you that Orange Beach shot, when the hail was coming over Orange Beach, we couldn't see anything other than flashes of light from the lightning. But these storms are going to keep marching east and southeast through the morning. We'll pull back and show you the main radar again. It's just so you can continue to monitor this. And there are the storms, and you can see that they're still packing a tremendous punch. And if you're watching us on the eastern shore, Baldwin County, it's coming to you next. Now, this is a 3-hour loop, and you can see how the conditions deteriorated from 12:53 in the morning to 3:53 in the morning, just around downtown Mobile alone. And you can see that one storm is veering its way to the northeast. That's the one that produced the hail earlier. And you have another band of storms that's tracking to the south and east. That's the main band, and the severe weather potential will end by 8 to 9 a.m. That's when the severe weather threat will end for everybody, including those of you watching us on the Florida Panhandle. New storm reports coming in. Egg size hail, 2-inch in diameter, reported at 340 southwest of Lillian. So that was between Orange Beach and Lillian. Severe thunderstorm warnings are in play till at least 5 a.m. This gold color that you see flashing, that's an extension of the current severe thunderstorm warning, which now includes all of Baldwin County, all of Mobile County, Pensacola, Escambia County, Alabama, Santa Rosa County. So really, anyone that's ahead of the squall line, you're in a severe thunderstorm warning, and there's just no getting away from that. And as we show you the visual of the radar, you can see that band is still marching its way through. As far as when it's going to be to your individual community, let's pull up the radar estimates of the track. I'll mark this live, and let's see. Draw this out and track it to the south and to the east. It will be to Daphne at 4:09. So if you're watching us in Daphne, it's going to be to you in about 15 minutes. If you're watching us in Fairhope, it will be to you in 25 minutes at 4:19. These are radar estimates. Foley, it would be to you at about 4:47. Dauphin Island, 4:37. So based on the current speed of the storms, that's when the outer band of the squall line is going to be in your community. So let's say you have a car that's outside in Daphne. That means you got 15 minutes to get it into a garage or into a carport and get it protected in case there's more hail inside the squall line. I don't think the hail size inside the squall line is as large as it was over the storm ahead of it that rolled through Orange Beach, but still, you know it's going to be just absolutely massive amounts of wind and lightning. So Daphne, it's going to be to you in about 15 minutes. 4:09 is the estimated time of arrival. Fairhope to you in about 4:19. If you're just joining us, I'm meteorologist Michael White, broadcasting live in the Fox 10 Storm Tracker Centers. We're watching severe thunderstorm warnings. We're not dealing with a tornado threat. That's about the only positive that we've got, but we've got numerous reports of wind damage from straight line winds, hail that's been showing up to be baseball size, just ravaging the beaches, causing numerous damage to vehicles and to windows and to windshields. And we're still not done. The storms still have a way to go before they're finished. We will see the storms exiting around 7:30 to 8 o'clock in the morning, and that's when the severe potential will begin to taper off. So you're just watching a live shot of the radar. And you can see our camera, the middle one, the one that's located at the Dolphins restaurant. We told you the visuals would die off with that, and they're starting to. You can still see the moon pie, but you can't see much else because the rain is so heavy and the lightning is so intense as these storms are still just marching their way gradually to the south and to the east. So if you are in Baldwin County and you have woken up from the thunder, or you're just watching our live coverage in Mobile County, give them a heads up. Let them know these storms are nothing to play around with. And that's the reason that we decided to go on the air, despite the fact that there are technically no tornado warnings with any of this. We have not had any reports of tornadoes, and no tornado warnings have gone off. But the straight line winds, which is wind just pushing out in one direction, has been excessive. We've seen that between 60 to 70 miles per hour. And the hail threat this morning, especially from the storm that hit Orange Beach earlier, has been just horrendous. So we're just going to stay with this as it continues marching its way across sections of the Gulf Coast. The latest estimated speed of these storms is right now, it's still moving at 40 miles per hour. So 40 miles an hour is still the current speed. 60-mile-an-hour winds are what's projected as the storms are marching their way through. And there is still going to be more rain on the way. I want to show you a wide shot of the radar. And notice that this is kind of what we've got for this morning. So you got the leading edge of storms marching east across our area right now. And then you're probably thinking, hey, you know, are we going to be done with the severe weather threat when this moves through? Well, you've still got more rain off to the west that we're watching. The question is, do these storms that you're seeing along the I-10 corridor in Louisiana, the ones that are north of New Orleans, do they keep marching east into our area, or do they march more toward the south and east? Now, the models have suggested they're going to be going more toward the south, which would mean they would not impact our region and our severe threat will be done. But that's why we're going to have to just keep staying with this throughout the morning and watching it because the leading edge of storms producing the severe thunderstorm warnings are the most dangerous. The ones that are behind it are not as bad as what we've got right now. But still, you think about more heavy rain on top of the rain we've already gotten, and then there would be the risk of possibly flash flood warnings. We'll pull up the latest Fox 10 Futurecast and see what the Futurecast is going with as far as where the storms would be. It's completely off regarding where the storm's current position. It doesn't factor in at all where the storms are. It's got the squall line not passing through till 8, 9 o'clock. The HRRR doesn't have it passing through until 6 o'clock. So I think basically the storms have taken on a mind of their own, which is why we always emphasize when we show you the Futurecast or show you the model data, the radar may not look exactly like what is recommended. Timing is always subject to change. The storms may move faster or slower than what those Futurecasts are representing. And you can see right now the nastiest storms are already rolling through parts of Mobile, the I-10 corridor, Bruton, Evergreen, Jay, Pensacola. Those of you that were down in Orange Beach who are now in a lull from all of the hail that rolled through earlier, more storms are coming. These storms that you're seeing around the port city are tracking southeast in your general direction, but they probably won't get there for about another hour. But still, that's going to be a horrible situation to be in when you think about the damage to vehicles that has already shown up. And I'm looking right now at some of the images, and the hail is baseball size. I'm looking at some of the pictures right now. Windshields cracked, vehicles dented, back windshield completely blown out. And this is on numerous vehicles. Back windshields blown out, sides of vehicles dented, almost like another car smashed into it. That's the kind of damage that the hail has caused. It's really tremendous, and I'm getting all these from the Weather Service office in real time as I'm reading them. I'm sending the information out to you as this is all going on. And it's unbelievable. We're really going to have to post a lot of these once we get off the air. But any car that was not protected or in a garage or a carport just got obliterated down in Orange Beach earlier. And I'm going to pull that up again on the radar and let you see this as that thing worked its way through. Let's back this up. And that's 331. So here we go. Here's this. This is 301. See the pink? That's the hail. It rolled over Gulf shores right there at 307. Then it moved to the north and east where it got stronger as it rolled into Orange Beach. The lightning got more intense. That pink color got brighter, which means the hail grew in size. And then right about 320, there it was, just pounding Perdido Beach Boulevard, where the Turquoise Place is, where all those condos are, Cotton Bayou, Inner Rarity Point, Whispering Pines Road, Paradise Beach, Lillian. But then once it moved north and east of Lillian, we saw that pink color fade away and the severe potential, at least from the hail, began to weaken tremendously. But that is a major problem for anyone that's down on spring break. And you think about all the people that are down at the beaches right now that are either wrapping up this week of spring break, which I know is for Mobile and Baldwin County, or the people that were going down there for this upcoming week for spring break. And if you're down at the beaches, even though there's a lull in the action right now, this next span band of storms is marching in your general direction and packing a heck of a punch with wind speeds of 60 miles per hour, tremendous amounts of lightning, incredible heavy downpours of rain as the storms are still tracking their way south and to the east. We've still got the severe thunderstorm warnings in play. Obviously, they're not going to be dropped until that squall line passes over your individual community. And in downtown Mobile, it's coming down hard. Spanish Fort, it's moving into your area right now. Daphne and Fairhope, you're next. What about the southern end of Mobile County? What about Theodore, Irvington, Grand Bay, Bayou La Battery? Now the storms are moving in to your area. So I-10 around Mobile County, which does go into Theodore, Irvington, and Grand Bay, the outer edge of the squall line is now rolling into your communities. Bayou La Battery, it'll be to you next. You can see the frequent amounts of lightning that are still showing up and down Cottage Hill Road, Airport Boulevard, all of West Mobile, Midtown Mobile, Downtown Mobile, and now Spanish Fort, the Bayway and the Causeway, two roads you want to stay away from right now as the storms are just working their way slowly at about 40 miles an hour with tremendous amounts of rain falling over the same places. Could also cause flash flooding issues as well if you live in a low-lying or flood-prone spot. Here at the station, which is at McGowan Park and I-65, we can hear the wind and we can hear that rain falling heavily. So the storms are still packing a punch and they're gradually tracking to the south and east at 40 miles per hour. We'll pull up again if you're joining us late when those storms will be in your communities. And as of now, it looks like it'll be to Foley just before 5 in the morning. Daphne, it's going to be to you in 10 minutes. Fairhope, 427. Robertsdale, 436. And these are storms that are producing heavy rain, lightning, gusty straight line winds. The winds are at 60 miles an hour, so it would be think about it, that'd be about a mid-grade tropical storm as it marches its way through, in addition to the loud thunder and the heavy downpours of rain. Very scary conditions to start this Saturday morning, but the entire weekend is not going to be a bust. We are going to see better weather once these storms are done. This afternoon, this evening, we'll gradually get the sky to clear out. Sunday is going to have sunshine, less humid air. So even though this is obviously going to cause a little bit of a hiccup in any weekend plans for this morning, things are going to be a lot better once we get to the afternoon, and especially by the time we get to tonight. So if you're just joining us, I'm meteorologist Michael White here in the Fox 10 Storm Tracker Center. It's now 4:05. We've been on the air for about an hour. We came on at 3:15 when the storms were starting to hit Mobile County hard, and you can see the storms are pounding the city of Mobile, Saraland, Satsuma, all the way down to Grand Bay, the Bayway and the Causeway getting heavy bands of rain. We're also getting that now in Spanish Fort. The rest of the eastern shore, it's heading toward you. Daphne, Fairhope, Point Clear, and it's going to continue marching southeast at about 40 miles per hour. And we've had numerous reports of hail damage in Orange Beach from the storm that rolled through earlier. The hail size was about baseball size, blew out windshields, car windows, caused dents to the vehicles, just massive amounts of damage as a result of these storms. Monroe County emergency manager up in Excel reported thunderstorm wind damage at 3:30, down trees across the entire county, and they've seen dime-size hail. Monroe County EMA reported trees are down across the entire county. And if you're watching us in one of those inland counties, I want to point out it's still pouring rain up there, but the severe weather threat has greatly diminished because you're already on the back edge of the squall line. So it's still raining in Washington County. It's still raining in Clark County. It's still raining in Monroe County. But now the leading edge of the squall line is moving into Evergreen, moving into eastern Conecuh and Escambia County, Alabama. So even though it's still pouring rain, the conditions are better in this part of the viewing area than what it was earlier. But we have numerous reports of trees down as a result of the winds that worked their way through earlier. If you lose power, You can watch us on the live stream, Facebook Live. You can also watch us on Fox 10 News Now and on YouTube. We're going to continue to push this out, and you can watch us on your device if you can't get us on television. And we're just going to keep staying with this as we continue to monitor these storms as they slowly but surely track through our area. And we're awaiting more storm reports. I've got a live chat up with the Weather Service, monitoring my inbox too. And the reports of the damage from wind and hail, massive. And I do feel bad for all the spring breakers, because obviously if you're down there on vacation, there's not a lot of places with protection for your vehicle. You know, a few condos have that, but others don't. And if your car was exposed when that hail worked its way through, then I know that that's going to just absolutely ruin your entire weekend. As far as the storms themselves, they're still continuing to march their way to the south and to the east. It looks like we will see these storms hopefully move east of the area before 8. This severe thunderstorm warning is in play till 5. We might get lucky. We might get it all out of here by 6 o'clock in the morning if possible. We don't have any flash flood warnings in the area yet. All we've got are severe thunderstorm warnings. We will continue to watch those in real time as we go through the day. You can see right now that we've still got to the west more rain behind this squall line. The question is, does it move into our area or does it track to the south? I think a lot of that's going to move to the south. This line certainly will. The line that's moving through our area right now will go to the south. Does the line behind that go to the south, or does it move eastward right into our region? That's sort of the key question that we're watching. And this dark shade of red that you see up and down I-59, those are flash flood warnings. What we don't want is to have flash flooding issues on top of already dealing with wind and hail. Not saying we will, it's just going to depend on what happens with this band of rain that's located across parts of Mississippi. What we want is to see those moving south into the Gulf waters and staying away from us. We're coming up on 4:10 in the morning. And I'm meteorologist Michael White in the Fox 10 Storm Tracker Center, and we're just going to stay with this live because there's really not a lot of programming on a Saturday morning that we're really covering up. Look at the Skycam shots. The visuals from these are unbelievable. You look at how calm things are down in Orange Beach right now. That's the third camera. The second one is at the Dolphins restaurant. The top camera is located on the roof of the Admiral Hotel. Intense amounts of rain, wind, hail, lightning. You see the numerous flashes popping up from those Skycam shots, and that's why we're on the air. I know the wind and the thunder obviously waking a lot of you up, and you want to know what's going on. Now, one thing we've talked about over the last several days was this severe weather threat we were going to end up facing, that we had a few storms yesterday morning, but the main event was going to get us bright and early today, which it is. And you can see those storms right now are over the Bayway and the Causeway, Spanish Fort, Daphne and Fairhope. They're knocking on your door. They're not there yet, but they are close. And you can see West Mobile, at least down around the Dawes community, you're now on the back edge of the squall line. So what I mean by that is you're still going to see more rain coming through, but the most intense rain will start to subside. The rain rate will back off a bit, and the lightning will back off a bit. So if you're watching us in far west Mobile, and I'll zoom in tighter toward that because I want to let you know when you're going to at least see some changes with the weather pattern. Well, I'll go ahead and mark this live, the radar, and zoom in a little bit tighter. You can see downtown Mobile all the way to Spanish Fort. It's very unpleasant right now. The rain is heavy. The lightning is popping frequently. We go farther back toward West Mobile, and you can see Dawes Road and Cottage Hill Road in the regional airport. Now, if you're not sure what this circle is here on the radar image, that is where the radar is physically located. If you've driven by the Mobile Regional Airport, you see that white dome. That's the radar. So that's what that circle represents. And you can see all of Mobile, the I-10 corridor, I-65 corridor, Midtown, downtown. Nasty right now. Heavy rain, lightning, gusty winds. This is West Mobile. Here's Cottage Hill, Dawes Road, Newman Road, Grand Bay Wilmer Road, still dealing with heavy rain and lightning. However, once you go past that, you'll start to see less lightning and you will start to get the rain rate to decrease a bit. But for at least the next 10 to 15 minutes, all of Mobile, including West Mobile, is just still going to be dealing with just a nasty amount of rain and storm activity. Now, is the rain going to help with the pollen count? Heck yes, it will. That's something we can be thankful for. Pollen will not be much of an issue today. It's going to help with the drought monitor, but you never want severe weather coverage to accompany any of these storms, and it's just really, really bad. And we're just continuing to monitor all of these storms as they march their way to the east and to the southeast. You can see the storms are pushing through Dawes, Theodore, Irvington, I-10, US 90, Daphne and Fairhope. I'd say it's going to be to you in the next 5 minutes. Fairhope probably the next 15 minutes. And the storms are producing 60-mile-an-hour winds, tracking to the south and east at about 40 miles per hour, with the storms hopefully done by the time we get to about 7 o'clock in the morning. That's what we're hoping for, is that by 7, things will be a heck of a lot calmer outside than what they've been so far today. So we're just going to keep watching this, and I'm watching out for more storm reports. Haven't gotten anything new in the last 6 minutes as far as new pictures or anything like that. It's just a really horrible situation that we've got across the entire Gulf Coast right now with these storms. So what about the watch warning map? Let's go through that. The tornado watch is in yellow, and the tornado watch was supposed to go till 8 o'clock in the morning. Notice that Washington and Clark counties, you have now been dropped from the tornado watch, which means other than the rain you're getting right now, your severe weather threat is over, which is great. Everyone else, the watch is still in play till 8 o'clock. The gold represents severe thunderstorm warnings. Notice those are no longer in our Mississippi counties, which means that if you're watching us in Greene County, George County, or Jackson County, the squall line is already past you. So the odds of dealing with another round of severe weather is a lot lower. Your threat will still come from possible flash flooding. This dark shade of red represents flash flood warnings. But other than that, your threat as far as wind and hail has diminished. The gold are severe thunderstorm warnings that run from Mobile County to Conecuh County. This is still all in play because of the squall line that's working its way through. Those of you in Mobile, you're feeling the wrath of that squall line right now because we're dealing with 60-mile-an-hour winds. We've dealt with tremendous amounts of hail. Now, I have not gotten any major signs of hail reports in Mobile, which is good, but I'm getting lots of reports of trees down and a few power hiccups as well as a result of these storms marching their way through with a vengeance. And of course, obviously, the lightning extremely intense. Thankfully, because it's a Saturday morning, you're not going to have a tremendous amount of people showing up on the roads, but these storms are just absolutely nasty. Now they're running as far south as Irvington and Theodore. This is DIP, the southern end of DIP, dealing with the squall line right now, all the way over toward Stapleton. Loxley, it's headed toward you. Robertsdale, Summerdale, anyone on that State Highway 59 corridor, you need to make sure you buckle up because these things are packing a vicious punch. So downtown Mobile, it's still hitting hard for you. Sims, you're finally getting some relief. Notice how the shade of red is shifted over to yellow. That means the rain rate is not as intense. That's because you're now on the back edge of the squall line, so your wind threat is diminishing, the rain rate beginning to diminish, and you're not dealing with as much lightning and thunder compared to, say, Daphne, Spanish Fort, downtown Mobile. You're getting the worst of the weather right now. Theodore coming down hard. Irvington, Dawes. But conditions are going to gradually improve from west to east. So if you had weekend plans, just know you're getting the worst of the weather over with right now, and things will improve slowly throughout the course of the day. And we're going to see things improve greatly as we head in towards Sunday and head into the beginning of next week. So these storms are still working their way to the south and east at about 40 miles per hour. The lightning rate is extremely intense, the rain rate extremely intense. And we're just waiting for these storms to exit Mobile. And they're also going to be rolling through parts of Baldwin County. Now, if you were down in Orange Beach and you were a victim of that hail that worked its way through at about 3:30 in the morning, I wish I could tell you your severe threat is over. It's been calm for the last hour, but you've still got these storms to deal with. And let's see when they'll arrive in Orange Beach. .40-mile-an-hour winds. Orange Beach, they'll be to you at 5:08. So if you were down in Orange Beach and you were a victim of all of that hail that worked its way through earlier, you've got the next round of storms coming in at 5:08. So in about 50 minutes, you will get the next round of storms. And although the hail threat is not as significant as what hit you earlier, now you'll have the wind threat. You think about all those cars that were the victim of the hail, blew out windshields, blew out windows. Now you've got heavy rain and wind coming in. It's going to be a situation where when all this is done, people who are the victim of the hail are basically getting a double whammy, so to speak, from not only the damage from the hail, but also from the wind that's on the way. We're still going to be watching this and monitoring it throughout the morning. We've had reports of water spouts and things like that. I'm just checking my inbox really quick. And now it looks like the damage was now seeing more and more cars, more reports in Orange Beach from cars from the storm that rolled through at 3:30 in the morning, seeing more windshields blown out. Really, anyone that was on spring break and parked near those condominiums have a lot of damage to their vehicles. And the next round of storms, and this is what I want to emphasize, you think about all of the damage that happened, now you've got another round of storms that's coming in just after 5 o'clock in the morning. And now you'll have not only heavy rain, but intense winds, so you'll have interior damage to your vehicle. So if you can put it anywhere that protects it, you need to do that now while you still have time. Foley, it's going to be to you at 4:49, but in less than 50 minutes, it's going to be to Gulf Shores and Orange Beach as these storms continue tracking their way to the south and to the east. Fairhope, the storms are about to enter your area. Foley, you'll be next. And then Dauphin Island, it'll be to you just after 4:30 this morning. So this is just a really bad start to the weekend, clearly, based on where these storms are and where they're going. Let's go back to this live, and you can see Bayfront Park, Spanish Fort, Daphne, welcome to the squall line. It is now over your area, and you're dealing with intense lightning, really heavy amounts of rain. Downtown Mobile, you're still getting it, but notice the radar goes from that shade of red to more of an orange, which is still significant, but the worst of the weather is starting to shift out of downtown Mobile and more toward the eastern shore of Baldwin County. Daphne, you're now in the squall line. Bayfront Park, Spanish Fort High School, Malbus, Stillwater Boulevard, Alabama Highway 225, Fly Creek, and Fairhope. Fairhope, it's going to be to you in probably the next 3 to 4 minutes. And of course, it's obviously right over the Mobile Bay. The Bayway and the Causeway are roads you certainly do not want to travel. Notice the visuals on our downtown Mobile sky cams are starting to improve. We're starting to see we're starting to get more visuals that we couldn't get earlier because of the storms that were pounding that part of the area, and now we're starting to see things calming down a little bit more. So these are going to keep marching their way to the east and southeast at roughly 40 miles per hour. The wind speeds inside the storms are at about 60 miles per hour. The hail threat is lower than what it was earlier this morning, but the wind and the lightning are tremendous. And we're going to keep following this throughout the course of the morning. And this is sort of our main weather story today, is what's going to be happening with these storms as they continue marching their way through. So they stretch all the way into Theodore, Irvington, Grand Bay, Biola Battery, Pascagoula, Dauphin Island, Fort Morgan, up into Stapleton, Bay Minette, Pineville, Atmore, Bratt, Florida, Stanley Crossroads, and even over toward Evergreen and Castleberry. So that's sort of the situation we've got right now, and they're moving at about 40 miles per hour, and they're continuing to pack a tremendous punch. and I'm just checking my inbox, and it's really bad from the hail earlier and the wind threat earlier. We're just still monitoring all of this in real time. We're also going to be joined by meteorologist Jennifer Lambert. She's going to run the radar and keep an eye on the storm reports for me while I stay on the weather wall, and she's going to let us know if we get anything new. Jennifer, welcome to the coverage. And so as far as now, did you drive in any of this?
I did. I drove right across the Bayway during all of that.
And how bad was it?
Very. I would say about the majority of the time, once I made it into Mobile County, it felt like I was waterplaning for most of it. Wow.
See, and that's something that we always try to implore people not to do in this situation. You know, I understand why you had to do it. I always try to beat the storms. When I look at the radar, I always try to get in ahead of time, because I know that was a nightmare to try to drive through. And at 4:22 in the morning on a Saturday, again, typically we're not going to get a lot of traffic on the roads usually, but it's the spring breakers are who I'm really feeling bad for, because of all the damage reports we had from the 3:30 storm that hit Orange Beach, that produced all that hail. Now you've got this next band, the main band, that hasn't even gotten to you yet, and it's going to be there in about 45 to 50 minutes, and it could cause more damage. And if you have cracked windshields, if you have busted out windows, now you're going to have water inside the interior of your car unless you can get it into a carport or a garage as soon as possible. So that's what we're going to be watching with these storms. Now, West Mobile, the situation getting a little bit better for you. The core of the squall line is moving out, and it continuing to march its way to the south and east toward Biola Battery, Grand Bay, Daphne, and Fairhope. So if you're watching us in Wilmer or Chunchula, things are already calmer. In fact, Chunchula, you're out of the severe thunderstorm warning, which is good. Same for Loosedale. If you're watching us in George County or in Greene County, your severe weather threat is diminishing, but in Jackson County, it's still really bad. In places like Pascagoula, Hurley, all up and down the I-10 corridor, stretching over toward Bay Minette and Pineville, Atmore, Bratt, and up toward Bruton. But down around southern Baldwin County, where you had that wicked hailstorm, you're in a bit of a lull right now. Things are a lot calmer for you, and they've been calm for the last, I'd say, 45 minutes. But the problem is, more is coming, and that's what we've tried to talk about all morning, is that even though that nasty storm moved out of your area, there is still this that's coming and is on the way. And the lightning with this is ferocious. We have seen numerous amounts of wind damage, power lines down, and the hail threat is also significant. And what you're looking at in the loop, Jennifer showing one of our little fancy little things, the little purple color, are where the hail is located inside the storms. Now, this is not as large as what rolled through Orange Beach earlier, but still, any hail is bad hail. We all know that. Dime-size hail is still bad, but it will pale in comparison to what rolled through southern Baldwin County earlier.
Because I did get live reports just now of pea-sized hail in Bruton and also up near Pace, Florida. So that is confirmed hail in those little cells. So potentially moving over the bay into Fairhope and Daphne too, that we could see some.
Thank you, Jennifer. And that is something we're going to have to keep watching. Let's zoom in tighter towards this, where we're seeing some of these hail signatures, and you can see it's Gateswood near Loxley, Daphne. So essentially right along the squall line, here's the end of the Bayway. There's Spanish Fort, Highway 98, and the purple color again is where we're seeing reports of hail, and that's all beginning to march its way into the eastern shore. So not only do you have the heavy rain and wind and the tremendous lightning, now you're also dealing with significant amounts of hail that are marching their way through. And this is what's known as the reflectivity. This is what shows you the rain, and the rain is awful. You're going to be talking about major ponding on the roads, undrivable conditions from the rain. Whenever you get that dark shade of red on the radar, you don't want to drive through that mess at all. Then you have all the lightning, and I know it's loud in that area. So even though we have no tornado warning, we have not seen any tornado warnings this morning. Thankfully, tornadoes have not been a problem. But the reason why we're on the air, despite the fact that there's no tornado warnings, is that the straight line winds have caused massive amounts of damage. The storms themselves are very frightening, and the hail risk has been significant. And what we had roll through Orange Beach earlier was really bad, and the Eastern Shore, you're getting it pretty bad as well. And Jennifer is monitoring live updates for what's going on with the Weather Service chat, what's going on with damage reports and things like that. And we're going to keep bringing those to you in real time when we get them. Notice the visuals on the sky cams in downtown Mobile. The top one is pointed west from the top of the Admiral Hotel. The visuals are getting better. The middle cameras at the Dolphins restaurant, conditions are getting better. Now, I believe the third is now the Daphne. That's the Beau Rivage sky cam on the roof of the Hampton Inn. So the reason why visually it's hard to make out what's going on over there is because, Daphne, you are now getting the brunt of that squall line with the torrential downpour and the frequent lightning. You look at the light show, it's like the 4th of July with those cameras, the constant popping as a result of these storms. So they're going to keep marching their way to the east and to the southeast over the next couple of hours. And those of you down in the southern end of the county, and I want to emphasize this again, if you know anyone who's down there and has been vacationing for spring break, you know, they may have already gotten those storms that hit at about 3:30 in the morning. You need to let them know more is on the way, because, you know, when you're on vacation, you're not thinking weather, you're not thinking severe weather. And in this case, you've got to, because these storms are just packing such a tremendous punch, and they have completely moved ahead of schedule regarding the Fox 10 Futurecast. Jennifer, I was checking the Futurecast earlier. Both runs, the HRRR and the RPM, still had the line way to the west of us. So it's been off as far as the timing of these storms. It's moved ahead of schedule, which could mean that we could get the severe threat over ahead of schedule. That would be a good thing. That's what we would want to see happen. And you can see at 4 a.m. it's got the storm still essentially west of Mobile, which they're really not. Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's a little out of whack regarding where the storms are. So I think there's a good chance we get to see. They got the severe threat ending by 9. I think it ends by 7. I think 7 o'clock this morning is when the core of the severe weather threat is going to be over this morning. So here's another look at the radar. Here's the bigger picture. Obviously, lightning, a huge issue with the squall line. You got a lot of lightning showing up in these storms around Louisiana and around parts of Mississippi. The question is whether or not these storms move into the area in addition to the storms we've already got. And there is a chance that they could, but it's just not known whether or not they do. Because I do think there's a good chance that the storms we've got over us right now would stabilize the air to the point where we wouldn't have a major second wave of severe storms. Jennifer, what are your thoughts on the second line?
I don't know. Right now it does look pretty active, but again, I think it's mainly just going to be that light show that we're seeing if it does make it here. We had always been saying that there was going to be that 2 rounds of severe weather, but especially since we're seeing this one move through earlier, it is taking up a lot of the energy that we have in the atmosphere currently. And so just going to continue to keep an eye on it, but very active in terms of that lightning. It
sure is. Yeah, the lightning is just ferocious with this. And as we pointed out, the entire weekend is not going to be a bust. We're not going to see the entire weekend be bad. Once we get these storms out of here this morning, the conditions will be a lot better for this afternoon, much better for tonight. Sunday is going to be a sunny, pleasant day. So there is going to be some light at the end of the tunnel once we get these storms out of here this morning. And we're still watching and tracking the reports from the Weather Service office and from all these other locations. As far as what's happening with the hail, you can see that we've gotten 3/4 of an inch in diameter in numerous spots. And the one thing that we want to keep our eye on is as far as the storms. Notice that they're already moving into Daphne and Fairhope, and they're still traveling at about 40 miles per hour. So that means they're going to be rolling into, let me pull this back out a little bit more to get a little more of a visual on this. When are they going to arrive in Gulf Shores and Orange Beach? 40 miles an hour. They will be there. Orange Beach at about 5:08. Gulf Shores 5 a.m. So now your lead time is down to 30 minutes. Pensacola, it'll be to you in less than an hour at 5:22. So you got these really nasty storms that are moving at 40 miles an hour that will be to Gulf Shores at 5 in the morning. So you got less than 30 minutes to get that through there. And, you know, Jennifer, what we've seen with the pictures and the videos from Orange Beach has been just incredible because of how nasty and how intense the winds have been and how intense the hail was. We got the hail size to jump from golf ball to baseball down around Orange Beach. We've seen pictures of dents in cars like they got in accidents, windows blown out, windshields blown out. Now you've got this that's still on the way.
And that's a lot of heavy rain going to be pouring into those cars.
That was my biggest fear too. And you think about people that don't live here and then they're on vacation, don't pay attention to the weather, may not be in a carport in a garage, and this is going to cause not only major weekend headaches, this is going to cause major vacation headaches and insurance headaches and things like that. And these storms are just not letting up. We were hoping that because they were going to come through so early in the morning, they would lose some intensity before they arrived, and they really haven't. They're still just as bad as they were at 1 o'clock in the morning in Mississippi as they are rolling through this area. Jennifer just pulled up the watch warning map, and again, Clark and Washington counties, no tornado watch for you. You got dropped out of that. The tornado watch for everyone else is in play till about 8 o'clock this morning. The gold are severe thunderstorm warnings that are all in advance of that squall line that will be in play till at least 5 a.m. But I think we all know they're going to extend it beyond that. But the severe thunderstorm warning till 5 a.m., the tornado watch till 8. The maroon colors you're seeing to the west in Hattiesburg, those are flash flood warnings as a result of that second band of rain and storms that are behind this one squall line. My feeling on this is that the squall line that's moving through now will stabilize the air enough to where we won't have a second round of intense wind or hail, but I do wonder if whether or not a flash flooding threat could exist if the rain rates with that hold together.
I think that is a very high likely scenario that we could see.
And so that's what we got to watch.
Especially with the
Oh no, I was just going to say we just got to play the waiting game.
Yeah, exactly. And also the soil is already so saturated. We're already seeing high levels for our river flooding, especially last night because the astronomical tides. They're not really doing much right now. They're kind of neat, and so we're still starting to see some of that from up north. So. And definitely a high possibility. And
with the soil moisture already soaking wet, if we do get any additional wind gusts, it makes it even easier for trees to fall.
Oh, yes.
As we have seen numerous times in some of these thunderstorms. And as we pull back up the radar, you can see the squall line movement is still at a pretty decent speed, 40 miles per hour, but it's still raining where the squall line has already passed through. But now it's moving into Fairhope, Daphne, Loxley. Here's the I-10 corridor. So everyone from exits 35 to 44 are getting the brunt of the severe storms. Downtown Mobile, it's still raining, but it's getting better. Notice the color goes from orange to yellow, which means the rain rate not as significant. You're getting less lightning, your wind threat backing off a bit, and that's good. So you're getting a little reprieve. But now those of you on the eastern shore, you are getting the nastiest part of the storms. Stapleton, Loxley, here's Highway 225. That runs from Spanish Fort all the way up to, that runs all the way up toward runs up to the park, Bicentennial Park. It runs up toward there and near Bay Minette and toward I-65. And that's right by the W.K. Wilson Jr. Bridge, the Dolly Parton Bridge. It's right in that general region. So this section of 225 is now starting to see the rain rates backing off, which means the squall line is now past that section, but it is moving into Pineville, Gateswood, Bratt, Florida, Flomaton, Bruton, Jay, Chumuckla, so the northern end of the Florida Panhandle. All of you need to be ready for this as well. And I wish I could say, oh, well, you know, the storms aren't going to be as bad for you as they were for these spots earlier, and that's not true. The intensity of the storms is still just as strong as they were in Mississippi. They have not lit up at all. So it's just a matter of waiting. So, for example, if you're in Molino, you've got to wait about another 15 minutes, and then this squall line is going to be right over your area, and you'll get heavy rain, lightning, and wind gusts of about 60 miles per hour, which would be the equivalent of a mid-grade tropical storm right over your community. And in southern Baldwin County, you're bone dry, but not for much longer. And I think the reason why we focus on that is because folks in that area had that storm come through between 3 and 4 this morning that produced baseball-size hail. Well, that hail caused tremendous damage to all the vehicles. A lot of the windshields and windows got shattered. Now you've got another line of storms that's about 30 minutes away from rolling back into Gulf Shores. Foley, Orange Beach, the Wharf, and Lillian, and is going to be rolling through these exact same spots again. So that's going to cause even more damage to the vehicles that already got hit by the hail. Biola Battery, Dauphin Island, Grand Bay, you're dealing with the nastiest part of the storms. If you're in West Mobile up around Dawes, conditions for you are improving. It's still raining, but the rain rate is not as significant. The winds are starting to back off a bit. And that's good news. And thankfully, we haven't seen any flash flood warnings going off. We haven't had any flash flood warnings. We have not had any tornado warnings. All of the wind damage has been from straight line winds blowing in one direction, but they've been doing so at about 60 miles per hour. And also the hail. Anytime the hail diameter is over an inch, it becomes automatically a severe thunderstorm. We've seen the hail diameter get up to 2 inches. So the hail right now tracking through parts of Grand Bay, Daphne, Fairhope, Loxley. Now the hail not as large as it was from what we saw in Orange Beach earlier, but that storm in Orange Beach is going to be more the exception rather than the rule. Chances are we won't see hail of that size coming back again this morning. But hail is still bad regardless of the size of it, although obviously when it gets to baseball size, you're going to see the damage level jump up precipitously. So the storms are still going to be marching toward Cantonment, Molino, Seminole, Alberta, Somerdale, Foley. Of course, Highway 59 we know is such a heavily trafficked road anyway from all the tourists that go down to Gulf Shores and work their way up it to get back to Interstate 10. Pelican Point, Barnwell, Fish River, it's over toward you. Fairhope High School, this is this section of Highway 98 known as Greeno Road. That is where the nastiest storms are falling right now. You've got the heavy rain, the lightning, the 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts falling on Greeno Road, falling on DIP, heading Dauphin Island, Fort Morgan. It's about to roll into your area as well. Biola Battery. The lightning there, just off. It's like the 4th of July down in Biola Battery right now because the lightning is almost nonstop. So I know the thunder is nonstop. And that's why we're on the air. In fact, the number of strikes in just this box, which means just Biola Battery, not the whole area, 21 lightning strikes. That's a lot of loud thunder. I know that's going to be shaking the walls, and that's why we're on the air this morning, because I know so many of you are probably waking up from all of this thunder, and you're wanting to know just what the heck is going on with these storms. We told you we would have a large threat of severe weather early this morning. We've been hitting on that the last couple of days. It's here. Thankfully, once it's gone, the rest of the weekend is going to end up becoming a lot more pleasant. But those of you in Pensacola, those of you in Milton, those of you in Fort Walton Beach, it's not to you yet. We still got to be patient as these storms gradually keep working their way to the south and east at about 40 miles per hour. And Jennifer, I mean, you were literally in the middle of it not long ago.
Exactly. I was driving across the Bayway. That's when it was quiet then. It was just a light show driving across. And then as soon as I made it into Mobile County, that was when it got very heavy. Cars were going about 40 miles per hour on the interstate, which is good. But it felt like I was almost hydroplaning a lot of those times. And so I knew I needed to get into work, but I just went slow, took my time. If you're heading out, if you have to head out, that is what I would recommend. Just take it slow. If you have work, add on a couple minutes, leave early, go ahead and prepare for that. But then also there was something else I wanted to talk about with that hail in Gulf Shores, something I didn't think about. We have a lot of campers here.
Oh, you're right.
I know. And so I'm watching our Facebook Live right now and seeing some of the comments. And Vicki said that the campers in Gulf Shores State Park have sustained severe damage. She says that they have about 2 to 3 inch hail currently in their freezer there. So just thinking about the campers out there.
That's right. You know, yeah. And I did not, my mind was so focused on spring breakers and beachers. You're spot on about the campers because so many people go to Gulf State Park and those RVs, I mean, and the trailers are just going to take just a tremendous pounding from hail of that size. That's right, Jennifer. I mean, that's a good point. And for those of you that were victims of that, you know, send us the pictures, send us the videos. We want to see it. And of course, we're going to post it on our social channels when we get off the air later this morning. But I know that is just a terrible situation. And the fact that, again, I'll emphasize this again, especially for the campers, more storms are coming. The second round is on the way. You got these storms right now that are moving into Loxley, Gateswood, Seminole, Foley. Those of you that were on the eastern shore, conditions a little better. So, for example, if you're in Daphne, already notice the color went from red to yellow. Now the color on the radar is always based on how much rain is falling. The darker the color, that means the more interference off the radar. You have the radar beam that goes out, and the reason why we call it reflectivity is when it runs into rain, it reflects it back to the radar. Well, when there's less noise, the color is green. When it's darker, that means there's more noise. There's more being reflected back, which in turn means heavier bands of rain. So in Daphne, you're getting a yellow color, which means the rain rate is lower. Look at downtown Mobile. The rain rate now at green, which means it is much lighter showers compared to what we saw earlier. So we're just going to have to keep following these storms as they march their way east into the southeast. And I'm curious, Jennifer, have we seen a temperature change at all for Mobile since the storm moved through? At least has the dew point dropped? I'm curious about that to see if maybe the humidity level has deteriorated at all since the squall line has worked its way through. Here's the current conditions. Jennifer's pulling those up right now. And we can see Mobile. Well, it has. Mobile's dropped from, I think, 71 degrees to 60, and now you've got the all-important north wind at 20. Why is the north wind important? That blows in the stable air. The dew point has also dropped from 70 degrees down to 61, so the air has gotten less humid. Pensacola, on the other hand, the front hasn't arrived to you yet. You're at 72. Your wind southerly at 14. Your dew point in the upper 60s. Your air more humid. Jennifer, thank you for that. I was curious to know whether or not we've seen the conditions change at all. These are the widespread temperatures across the region, and you can see, look at this, 70s east of I-65. 50s farther to the west. Calvert and Wilmer, your temperature has dropped to 59. Mobile, it has dropped to 60. Fairhope, it's in the process of dropping, but the air is still very humid at Orange Beach, Lillian, Pensacola, Pace, still in the low 70s. So yeah, when you see that visual, Jennifer, it lets you know the atmosphere is doing its thing, and we're seeing things stabilize on the back edge of the squall line. That's the main reason why I don't think we're going to have a second severe weather threat after this one, because the air has gotten a lot more stable. Yeah. And you need, basically, humidity is like the fuel you need for the storms. And whenever you've got high humidity, it's like pouring gasoline on a fire. You see the storms just explode. When the humidity's low, you don't really see that risk. Now, the hail has gotten a little bigger right now between Fairhope and Robertsdale. And that's right along State Highway 104. Jennifer just pulled up the hail tracker. That's this purple shade of color. The hail is over a ½ inch in diameter. So again, not the size of what we saw in Orange Beach, but that's going to be more the exception rather than the rule. Odds are we won't see hail getting that big again for the rest of the morning, but a ½ inch of hail is still enough to ruin your day, and that is showing up between Loxley and Robertsdale. And we've also got some light hail showing up around Atmore and Century, and even blowing through as far north as Bruton. But the biggest right now is from that storm that's between Loxley and Robertsdale. And Jennifer just pulled up the bigger picture again as you see the outer edge of the squall line rolling through Dauphin Island, Fairhope, rolling into parts of Bruton and North Santa Rosa County. Gulf Shores, Pensacola, you're the one that's kind of in the lull right now. You're the one that's just sitting in muggy, juicy air, just sort of, I hate to put it this way, but you're kind of waiting on the next bad thing to happen. And I only say that because you had the storm come through at 3:30 that produced such large hail, damaged the campers, the condos, damaged the vehicles that were there for spring breakers, and the squall line hasn't even arrived to you yet. So you at least have time to try to protect your vehicle as best you can, protect the campers as best you can before that line rolls into your area, and it's projected to do so within the next 15 minutes. At last check, the estimate for those storms to move through is going to be at about 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, if you're watching us in one of our western counties, for now, it looks like you can go back to sleep because your severe weather threat has diminished greatly. But for those of you in Baldwin County, southern Mobile County, the Florida Panhandle, you need to stay awake and you need to be paying attention to what's going on with these storms. And we've been on the air for the last now 90 minutes And we've been streaming our coverage again on Facebook Live and on Fox 10 News Now. Gulf Shores, the estimate for you is 5 o'clock. Shortly after that, Pensacola, it would be to you at about 5:24. And this is all based on an estimate of a 40-mile-per-hour speed, which is how fast that line of storms is moving. Foley, 4:49, so that means in 3 minutes. And you can see that is darn close from the main part of the squall line rolling into your area. And it's basically what Mobile ended up dealing with about 20 minutes ago. And now it's going to be moving into the southern edge of Baldwin County. We're going to have to just continue to follow it very closely. And we're just going to keep getting your pictures and videos and looking at these as they work their way in. So here's the leading edge of the squall line. And you can see Robertsdale, Summerdale getting those storms. Foley not yet, but soon. Alberta soon. Wolf Bay soon, Bon Secours soon. Barnwell, you're getting it. Fairhope, you're getting a little bit more of a reprieve. The nastiest rain is moving out of your area, and this is all tracking to the south and east at 40 miles per hour. Lillian, you had hail earlier. You need to be on standby. Pensacola, you had a nasty thunderstorm earlier. You need to be on standby. Orange Beach, we all know what happened to you at 3:30 this morning. You have definitely got to be on standby as these storms are getting closer and closer and knocking on the doorstep of the beaches very soon, sooner rather than later. I'm meteorologist Michael White along with meteorologist Jennifer Lambers. We're broadcasting live to bring you the severe weather coverage from the squall line that's rolling through our area bright and early on a Saturday. No tornado threat, which is good, but because these storms have packed such a tremendous punch and have already created a lot of damage, produced a lot of lightning, produced a lot of hail, we want to be on the air with you to reiterate exactly what we're seeing, what the threats are, who's dealing with the most dangerous weather, and when the weather begins to move out and exit. Have the Weather Service, have they listed anything new, Jennifer?
Yeah, so I do have a couple of updates. One was from our Facebook Lives, people in Loxley and also West Mobile saying that they're currently without power. So seeing some power outages in that area. Again, we are live streaming in case you do lose power during these storms. As far as local storm reports, seeing some of those come in for Clark County right now, just near Thomasville, seeing power outages almost throughout the entire county. Multiple power lines are currently down. Several homes have large pine trees through them near the Windsor subdivision. Again, that one is coming from the emergency management report there in Clark County. Also starting to see more homes on the east side of Highway 43 currently do have trees on them, and at least 2 homes have partially missing roofs. So we're starting to see that wind. Again, a big risk with this. This is something that we also can just saw back in our hurricane season, is when we start to see that saturated soil mixed with these wind speeds. That's when we're going to start to see more of these power lines and those trees down. So go ahead, have that plan in place in case these storms aren't to you yet. Make sure you're charging all of your devices and just be prepared in case you do lose power, but also those trees coming down still possible along with those power lines. Right now we're still continuing to track some of these. Foley, Orange Beach, and Gulf Shores currently in the clear, but then also I'm going to start to get some of those hail photos up here soon. One actually from our own Shelby Myers.
Yeah, we're looking to see those photos and those visuals and see exactly what's going on as these storms are marching their way through. And and I appreciate Jennifer reiterating a lot of the damage reports that we have seen so far. What we've got right now and what we're zoomed in on is the storm tracker radar in southern Baldwin County. Here's Gulf Shores and here's Orange Beach. And we told you that if you were down in Orange Beach, you know, things have been quiet for the last hour. But now that next round of storms is going to be moving in. And if you had damage to your vehicles or to your campers, time is running out to try to secure those as best as possible. Because by the time all of that rain moves through, the damage is going to be far worse when you get all of that water inside the vehicles. You know, I don't even want to think about what the repair costs are with that. But as far as what we've got with the storms right now across the area, they are just still producing massive problems, from the heavy rain rates to the lightning. How much rain have we seen so far? If you're curious about the rain totals, let me pull some of those up on the radar and see what we've got. And again, these are just estimates. This is not going to be anything official. That won't come in until later. So let's see what some of the estimates are right now for rainfall totals. Let's pull that up right now on the radar, and you can see, wow, this is in the last 48 hours across parts of West Mobile and Dawes, over 4 inches of rain. in the last 48 hours. What about the last 24? Let me change this to 24 hours. So this is just going to be from with the event for this morning. And you can see in West Mobile, it was still over 4 inches of rain. Parts of southern Mobile County, 3.5 inches of rain. So you think about down in southern Baldwin County, if you get 4 inches of rain, where the storms have already caused damage as a result of hail, that's going to be a huge problem because the rain rate is so heavy for such a lengthy period of time. Now, one thing I'm noticing is that the storms are taking a bit of a northeastward movement, which is a little surprising. Look at the storms around Dauphin Island and Biola Battery. It's almost like they're making more of an arc, like they're going up and they're going down. And that's what we're seeing over the last 30 minutes here on this radar imagery. You got some of the storms that are moving to the north and east, and you got others that are tracking more to the south and to the east. I'm going to pull up the latest Fox 10 Futurecast and see what some of the estimates are regarding the timing of getting all of this out of here, because clearly the sooner rather than later things will be better for our area. And let's take a look at this. Because see, on this visual, they don't have any of the storms as far east as they should be, but they've got the storms at 7 a.m. still approaching Pensacola, and then east of Pensacola by 9, and then out of the area by 10. But I still think it's a couple of hours off because it's not factoring in the storms that we're already dealing with. Like the RPM model doesn't even have any of the storms that we're dealing with in the southern part of the counties that are in place currently. So that's very surprising, to say the least. We'll pull back up the radar and get it and keep monitoring these storms as they work their way through. And as far as the latest estimated speed on the storms, they're still running at about 40 miles an hour to the north and to the east. So as we pull back up the latest track, a 40-mile-an-hour eastward movement would put it into Pensacola by about 5:30 in the morning. NAS 5:27, Gulf Shores 5:02. So now you got less than 10 minutes. If you're down around Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, Cantonment, it would be to you at 5:06. So those of you in Cantonment would have about 13 minutes to get your vehicles secured before those storms begin to work their way through. Jennifer, I know you've been looking at a lot of stuff regarding things in our inbox, pictures, videos from viewers, and what have you been able to see? Are you going to be able to pull up some of those photographs?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. What Jennifer's pulling up right now is she's going to be pulling up some of the photos you have sent us, and we're going to be able to actually see some of the damage firsthand from some of the storms that have already been able to work their way through across the area, because it has been such a long morning. We came on the air at 3:15. Even before we came on the air, we were watching these storms as they were already rolling through the northwest part of our area, creating massive amounts of damage, wind damage. And for those of you in our inland counties, don't think we've forgotten about you. I know Clark County, Monroe County has had numerous reports of trees down because of the thunderstorm, straight line wind damage from the storms earlier. We're still trying to nail down exactly what part of the county had that damage. Here's the photo that Jennifer is saying. And where's this from, Jen?
This is from Orange Beach.
This is from Orange Beach. Look at that. We told you baseball size hail, and there it is. Look at the windshields on the back of the vehicles. And that's just from the first storm that moved through. That doesn't factor in the one that's knocking on the doorstep that's going to be coming in within the next 15 minutes. That is horrendous. Usually you see, and look at this, a completely shattered back window. Look at this SUV. It looks like it got into a car accident because of the big dent you got in the front right hood of the vehicle. And already, and that is just as a result of the hail. And you saw the size of that. That is a tremendous amount of hail, Jennifer. That baseball size, you look at the damage on that, but think about that. With a shattered window, if rain, gets into that, and we've seen rain estimates at 3 to 4 inches from that band of storms, the car is going to be in serious trouble with that kind of rain that's on the way.
And these are all vacationers too, so Just shows you.
I mean, that's why you've always got to make sure you're paying extra close attention to the weather because of a situation like this. Now, for those of you that are curious, it is going to be less than 10 minutes till the storms hit Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, and the spring breakers, as you can see, were victims of that baseball-size hail from a big dent in the side of that SUV and a shattered back window as a result of the hail. That's the hail size right there. That is baseball-size hail, and those things are heavy. So you can imagine something of that size hitting you or hitting your vehicle at about 60 miles per hour, which is the wind gust speed inside those storms. So, that is going to cause major damage to any sort of property. And if that in your vehicle, if it's not in a garage or under a carport, and look on the ground, you still see more pieces of hail on the ground already, not just what's being held in that shot. It just goes to show the size and scope of what we're dealing with these storms. And now you can see the squall line is continuing to march its way to the south and east, approaching Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. So if you're watching us down around Inner Point, Foley, the storms are now moving into your area. If you're near Owa, Summerdale, you're getting those storms, Bon Secours, but Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, it's to you in the next 5 to 6 minutes. And Jennifer, I don't envy the people that dealt with that hailstorm earlier and now are about to deal with the squall line as it pushes in.
Oh, I agree. In case anyone is in that area and did have that damage to your car, if you have any way of covering it, taking it to a covered space really fast, I do highly recommend doing so. Just that way you will avoid the big downpours of that water. Again, when I was driving into Mobile County at the beginning of the squall line, it was extremely heavy rain. The roads could not even keep up with it. Just ponding water on the roadways, especially since our soil is so saturated, it's going to be hard to get it out of here fast. Those storm drains already working overtime, especially since the earlier storms and since it's been raining for the past couple of days. So just something to keep in mind. Heavy rain coming your way, a big light show too. And anything that you can do to go ahead and help out your cars, cover it, get a tarp in there, maybe even just go ahead and put some towels in there, all of that working to help you out before then. But again, zooming out, very active system with this lightning. Going to go ahead and check out that lightning count just about Mobile and Baldwin counties, especially down in Dauphin Island, seeing a lot of that. Whoa, I know. 1,800.
1,800 strikes. But, and that makes sense. Every time we've shown a camera shot, Jennifer, it's just been like the 4th of July, just nonstop flashes of lightning. And that's just in the box that Jennifer drew. That doesn't include the entire area. But southern Baldwin County, Eastern Shore, 1,800 lightning strikes with these storms. And that's the reason why we're on the air. I know so many of you, it's easy to sleep through rain sometimes. It ain't easy to sleep through that because the amount of thunder you're going to get from that lightning it'll wake up the dead almost because of how much lightning is showing up with these storms. And this is all going to keep marching its way to the south and east. It is approaching Gulf Shores and Orange Beach sooner rather than later. We're not really going to focus on the Futurecast estimates because the model data has been so far off on where these storms are now and when they're going to exit. We're approaching 5 o'clock in the morning. I think there's a good chance we get the severe threat done by hopefully 6 o'clock in the morning. I noticed, Jennifer, that they extended the warning. How long does this one last till?
This one for Santa Rosa, Baldwin, Covington, and Escambia counties goes until 5:45. Also, Escambia and Okaloosa are included in that.
Okay. And let's take a look at the estimated speed. The speed of the storms is now the storms are moving at 60 miles an hour. So they're moving faster. They're still producing 60 mile per hour wind gusts, but 60 miles per hour is now the current speed of the squall line. So it has picked up. So it was traveling at 40 miles an hour, and now it's moving east at 60 miles per hour. And the severe thunderstorm warning is extended until 6 o'clock and goes as far east as Okaloosa County. So essentially anyone ahead of this band of storms, you're officially in a severe thunderstorm warning. So you got storms moving at 60 miles an hour, producing 60 mile an hour winds, and producing massive amounts of rain and lightning and marching their way in a hurry. Now, Jennifer, zoom in a little bit tighter if you can. Notice that here's Orange Beach and here's Gulf Shores, and the storms themselves are moving to the east. I wonder if some of the heavier rain might stay just north of the shoreline. So, I mean, that's not a guarantee because it's hitting Fort Morgan extremely hard. It's hitting Dauphin Island hard, but it looks like it's going to keep moving straight to the east. If it does go to the south, it'll be very close. The warning box does extend as far south into the Gulf waters. I'm just hoping, optimistically speaking, for people down there at spring break, it would be great if the rain, at least the heavy rain from this, bypassed you. But I'm just going based on the movement of the radar. But regardless, it's literally right on your doorstep. The most tremendous amounts of lightning are in the southern part of the bay between Alabama Port and Barnwell. And that is where the nastiest light show is right now. Those of you in Grand Bay, things have calmed down for you. Southern Mobile County, Bayou La Battery, things are calming down. Theodore, Irvington, West Mobile, it's calming down. Those of you who are suffering from allergies as a result of the pollen, there is some at least positive from all this rain. It's going to wash a lot of that pollen out, which is great news. This is going to help with drought conditions. But whenever you got severe weather attached, it just really takes it takes the joy out of any positive you can think of regarding the rainfall, especially when all the damage is involved and all the power outages, trees down, and hail damage. But the biggest lightning right now is near Dauphin Island. So there is where you're getting the loudest thunder. And also you're getting that right around the western part of Baldwin County from Barnwell down to about Fort Morgan, and also up around Seminole and Cantonment. And as all that keeps marching its way eastward toward Pensacola and Gulf Breeze. State Highway 59, the nastiest storms for you are running from Robertsdale down to about Bon Secours. Orange Beach, storms are closing in. Now is the time to make sure, if you can, do whatever you can to secure your vehicles. The hail threat much lower than what you faced with the 330 storm, but we have seen rain rates total of over 3 to 4 inches of rain. We've also seen tremendous lightning and winds of 60 miles per hour. Here's the park at Owa. This is State Highway 59. This is the Foley Beach Express. So here's Orange Beach, and a lot of people leave Orange Beach, hop on the Foley Beach Express, run into the Baldwin Beach Express, and get their way to Interstate 10. And you can see the storms are just starting to cover more and more spots, and they're still just packing a tremendous punch as they keep gradually drifting their way toward the south and east. Couple of positives again. No tornado threat. We have not seen any tornado warnings at all this morning. None. We have not had any flash flood warnings so far. And the rain is at least helping with the pollen count. But the bad news, the lightning has been bad. The wind gusts have been bad. We've had numerous reports of damage from straight line winds. And we have seen numerous reports of hail damage. Now, this is the watch. Is the watch still in play till 8, Jennifer?
Yes, they continued that, the watch for some until 8 a.m., but they did go ahead and take Greene, Perry, and Wayne County, Mississippi's out of it.
You're right. I just noticed that. Greene is gone. Washington and Clark had been dropped. Greene is now dropped. So when you see this flash, that means the Weather Service has made a change or an update to it. So the tornado watch still is in play till 8 o'clock for everyone else. But I think slowly but surely as the morning goes on, you'll see more and more counties getting dropped out of that tornado watch, which means that the severe weather threat is diminishing. Also, flash flood warnings have been dropped around parts of central Mississippi as well. But the gold color are your severe thunderstorm warnings, and they cover Gulf Shores to Fort Walton Beach to Destin and up to Evergreen. It's for everyone ahead of that squall line that's marching its way through, and it is still packing a tremendous punch with lightning, heavy rain, straight line winds, and hail, and it's still going to be working its way down into the southern part of the county, the southern part of Baldwin County over the next several minutes. We'll pull that back up on the radar and give you a really good look at that, and there it is. And you can see the lightning closing in on Pensacola. And let's take another close look at the southern end of the county if we can, Jennifer, southern Baldwin County, I mean. And see, there's Orange Beach, there's Cotton Bayou, there's Gulf Shores. See, the storms so far are staying away from the immediate shoreline. They're kind of staying just to the north of that. Park at Owa, Bon Secours getting the heavy rain and still marching its way to the east at about 6. So the storms are moving east at 60 and producing 60-mile-per-hour winds as they march their way through. Now, if you're wanting to know how the rest of the weekend is going to look, the rest of the weekend is going to look fine. Once we get the severe threat out of here this morning, conditions gradually improve. We will go dry by late afternoon. We will see a clearing sky tonight. Sunday will be sensational. Monday will be sensational. Then we'll have some showers coming back back in for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. But right now, the nastiest storms in Baldwin County are hitting Alberta, Bon Secour, Foley, the park at Owa. And as we pull back and give you a better look at what we're seeing right now, the storms are out of the eastern shore section of Baldwin County. Those are gone. Spanish Fort, Daphne, Fairhope, conditions for you improving, and you are currently out of the severe thunderstorm warning, which is great news. Now, what we're going to be doing soon, since the warnings are out of the heavily populated portions of our area, meaning Mobile County and the eastern shore of Baldwin County, we're still going to be monitoring these storms. We're still going to be staying with us a little while longer, but we're going to have the crawl running at the bottom of the screen to keep a lot of you updated on the storms as they continue pushing into parts of the Florida Panhandle. They're going to keep marching their way to the southeast towards Pensacola and toward Cantonment, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Foley, Dauphin Island, and we'll be watching this throughout the morning. Now at 7 o'clock, we go on the air live for our Fox 10 morning news. That'll run from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. as usual, and we'll have a summary of everything that's going to be going on regarding these storms when we go on the air. We'll stay with this for at least another 10 to 15 minutes, but just want to give you an indication that we will eventually go back to regular programming, since the squall line is starting to move east of some of the more heavily populated spots. But we want to see exactly what's going to be happening down along the beaches and as the storms begin to roll through parts of Pensacola. Anything new with the damage reports, Jennifer?
Nothing new from the National Weather Service. There were pictures of quarter-size hail in the Fort Walton Beach area coming in, but also still getting reports of power outages. Someone on Facebook just saying that they're off of Cottage Hill and there's no power currently there. Again, almost the entire county of Clark County currently without power, with multiple power lines currently down, trees down on homes, roofs damaged and partially blown off. So thinking of all the folks in that community, keep us updated too, because this is also called ground truth and also ground verification, where we can get these reports in and can talk about how strong these storms were and continue to keep you updated too. Still just getting a lot of folks commenting about the lightning and the heavy rain. Very loud wherever they are across the Gulf Coast, even areas in Mobile, still hearing a lot of that thunder and lightning. Luckily starting to see a lot of that rain lightening up. Also seeing no power on Keller Road in Foley, and also more people commenting that there is no power in Bon Secour and other portions of Foley. So in case you don't have power, again, we're live streaming on Facebook and YouTube currently, and in case any other warnings do come out, we'll continue to keep you updated on air and online.
Thanks a lot, Jennifer. Yeah, and that's something we're going to just continue to follow is on the social media side, and as far as the Fox 10 morning news that begins at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. we go on the air from 7 to 9, and we'll have a summary of all of these storms. But want to emphasize again, the Florida Panhandle, Cantonment, Molino, McDavid, the squall line moving into your area, pushing into Seminole, pushing into parts of southern Baldwin County, Gulf Shores, Orange Beach. The next round getting ready to roll through your area. The severe thunderstorm warning runs till 6 a.m. We're starting to see more counties move out of the tornado watch, which is good. But the heaviest lightning right now north of the coastline, central Baldwin County, getting it the worst, and also getting that around parts of the Mobile Bay. Mobile County, the storms, at least the worst of it, is moving out of your area, which is great news. Now, there are still storms to the west. Notice they are producing lightning. They are producing heavy amounts of rain, but there is no severe potential with that other than the lightning. And we're going to see all of this pushing out of the area by about 8 o'clock in the morning and 8:30 at the latest. So the rest of your Saturday will end up looking good. For now, we're going to get ready to send you back to regular programming, but we will keep you updated on social media. We'll be back on the air as needed. We will be back on the air at 7 a.m. for the Fox 10 Morning News, and we'll have a full summary of everything we've seen so far today. For now, I'm meteorologist Michael White, along with meteorologist Jennifer Lambers, and we'll be back on the air as needed.